happened in 2016, in the summer. That day I was sitting with friends in the apartment. We were drinking all night. I'm not a fan of alcoholic beverages. I just drank for the company. It was 7 or 8 in the morning when my sister called me and said in a hysterical voice, crying, that my brother had hanged himself in the shower. We have a private house. My brother is a year older than me. I'm in shock. I can't understand anything. I just said that I'm coming home now. I flew out of the apartment like a bullet. Somehow caught a taxi and drove home. There are misunderstandings in my head. Still under a degree. I came home. Everyone in the house is in shock. Hysterical. My mother is crying. I went to the shower. I looked, and there my brother was hanging on his own belt. I have zero emotions from the state of shock. Everything is burning inside, but I can't cry. Some time passed, and we began to prepare for the funeral. Suddenly my other older brother says, I told you yesterday that a man in black was following me at night. These words made me shudder and get scared, and I started asking him what happened and how. Further from the words of the elder brother, the time was about 12 at night. I was in the city center and was going to go home. Got into a taxi. Suddenly, a man ran out of I don't know where and got into the back seat. I looked back. A man in black was sitting and also looking at me. I thought maybe it was some friend of the driver and did not pay attention. After taking a taxi to the bus stop, I got out of the car and walked home. Suddenly I turn around, and there's this black man following me. I turned around several times, and he continued to follow me. When I reached the house, he stopped and stood 20 meters from the house. I asked him what he needed. Maybe you were looking for someone, but he didn't answer anything. Then I went home, ate, and went back out to the yard to smoke. I'm sitting smoking and suddenly I notice that this man is sitting on the courts near the fence. I started asking who you are, who you are looking for. No answer, no greetings, only a smile in response. When I asked him something, he just smiled. I invited him to come home and talk, and he just sat there and didn't move. Then I went home and told everyone that there was a man sitting in the yard near the fence and that he was following me from the city center. But no one paid attention to my words. They probably thought it was some kind of drunk. After a while, this man in black came into the house. I saw him walk down the hall. That night, at about 3 to 4 o'clock, my brother, who hanged himself, left the house. My sister looked out the window several times, worried, wondered where he could go at such a time, and went back to bed. At 7 a.m., our neighbors, who rent a house in our yard, found my brother hanged. That's the story we had. I don't know who the man in black is, and why no one saw him except his older brother, and why another brother hanged himself, and not the one who saw him. The whole unsolved nightmare is still in my head. After the elder brother's story, his sister began to blame him for bringing this evil thing home. That's it for me. I'm sorry if this story is unclear to you, but I tried.